Welcome everybody and thank you for joining me. So for those who might not be aware, I do a weekly roundup video where I discuss a bunch of different topics, usually topics that I did not have the time to talk about in my normal videos. Now this is a bit of a longer style video and it is just more of a discussion than actual Xbox news. I do not quote sources like I usually do in my normal Monday and Wednesday videos, but I still think that there are a few interesting things being discussed, so I wanted to break this longer format up into smaller highlight videos for certain topics, as I know not everyone wants to sit through a 50 or 60 minute video. So if you enjoy these highlight videos, please feel free to check out the full episode, but let's just get into the video where we discussed free to play games that will now actually be free to play on Xbox. Now just allow me to give you a little bit of a backstory and context here. This is not the new announcement, but for context, if you want to play games online for a console, you do need a membership. I think it's Xbox Live and Sony Plus. It does not work the same way that it works on PC, where you can just play online without having to worry about paying a membership fee. This is something that I always thought was really stupid idea, but it is something that a lot of people have just accepted. If you want to play online, you need to pay. Now I kind of blame Microsoft for all of this because they started this whole thing, I believe 18 years ago. I think on the Xbox 360, if I'm not mistaken. It's also hard to believe that that console is that old. It feels like it was just released yesterday. I don't even remember the launch of the console. I was barely in primary school, but the point here is that the console launched and they started this whole Xbox Live thing where people had to pay to play online, and at that time Sony and Nintendo was not doing anything like that. I think most people did not really make too much out of it, but Xbox Live was a hit. I think there was over like 50 million people or something that signed up. Obviously Sony and Nintendo wanted to get into all of those things, so with the launch of the PlayStation 4, all of a sudden you had to pay an online fee too, and that is just something that we are never going to get rid of on a console, and most people are fine with it now. But Sony and Nintendo did do one thing that Microsoft did not do, and that is make free to play games free to play. And by that I mean, if there is a free to play game like Fortnite, you do not have to pay an online fee in order to play. It is just completely free. Xbox do not have this feature in place. You still need Xbox Live to play free to play games, and this is just something that people have been calling out for years now. It is really silly, especially for Xbox games. If you want to play a game like Halo, a massive fan base for that game exists online. The game is on PC and it is also on Xbox, and for those people, they can play cross-gen with each other. I do believe they can play across platforms also. So if you play, for instance, on PC, you can play the game completely for free, but if you want to play on Xbox, for instance, you need a subscription in order to play with your PC friends, and that is just something that it doesn't sit right with a lot of people. And to make it even worse, the free-to-play games like Fortnite, you also need an Xbox Live subscription. So people for a long time have just been calling bullshit on this and said that if you want to charge people for online play, then fine, but can you at least just make those free-to-play games free-to-play for Xbox? And as you can guess, Xbox did not announce that. Instead, they announced that prices for Xbox Live will be doubling, and that just got even more people to just give them a bunch of backlash. And finally, with that backlash, they decided to backtrack, and with that backtrack, they also announced that free-to-play games will now actually be free to play online without a subscription. And I think they just did that to get some of the angry people off their back. Whatever the reason is, it was very welcome and also very overdue. Now people have been waiting a very long time for that, but anyway, Xbox made the announcement, and then it just really, we didn't hear anything after that for a while. But this week we did finally get more confirmation from Xbox directly, and we will see this update very soon. Apparently it is not as easy as just flipping a switch. I don't know exactly what they need to do in order for this to work, but I think it's my understanding based on what I've read that they actually need to go to developers, and there's a bunch of stuff that they need to do. The point here is that free to play games will now truly be free to play. Now look, when it comes to Xbox Live, I am a fan. I guess now it's called the Xbox Network, but I really do like the service. I never really minded paying for it. I always just felt that Xbox Live was better than the competition, and a big reason why I felt that was because of what they offered. It is hard to explain, but people who have been gaming on Xbox for a while now knows exactly what I am talking about. Xbox Live is just so iconic, and there's just so many great features. It was always more stable than the competition. I think there is a case to be made that because you had to pay for a service, it just resulted in Xbox being able to do more. And I think the same can now be said for Sony as well. I have heard that their servers have also improved by a massive amount. I think companies are just willing to do more if there is a potential profit involved. Now I can also say that on PC it works without that profit incentive, but again on Xbox Live there is just plenty of great things and plenty of great memories, and I think because of that people don't really mind paying for it. They always just feel like the service was worth it for them, and still is. Now I will like to say this, I do believe that Xbox Live is done. I think that service is just not going to last much longer. They already changed the name to Xbox Network, so I guess that statement is officially true. But what I mean by done is that the service will soon just be completely integrated into Xbox Game Pass. Oh, and by the way, now that I am on the Xbox Network thing, for those who might have missed it, Xbox Live did change their name to Xbox Network. So Xbox Network is now kind of the umbrella for the service, and then you find a bunch of other services underneath the Xbox Network umbrella like Xbox Live and Xbox Game Pass and xCloud and many more other services as well. And I think the way Xbox is doing this is they are just slowly but surely going to phase out some of these services. Now that I think about it, when I talk about certain services phasing out, does Xbox Live even still have different tiers? I do remember back in the day there was always like Xbox Bronze and Xbox Silver. I have no clue whether that's still a thing. I do not believe that they are, but I am not too sure about that. But back to the point, eventually I think that Xbox Live Gold will also just phase out. I'm not sure how that will go over with people. I think it means that if Xbox Game Pass Gold, if Xbox Live Gold gets phased out, it means that you will now need Xbox Game Pass membership in order to play online, and that makes things even worse, and that's just not going to actually go over well with people. People already don't like the fact that they have to pay, and I don't blame them, and I think they will definitely not like the fact that online gameplay is locked behind Xbox Game Pass, but maybe they won't do that. Well, I guess we will just have to wait and see. I don't want to make any crazy assumptions, or at least any more crazy assumptions.